Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this chilly December morning. I'm Joanne Herkenhoff, co-chair of the Northern Colorado Health Sector Partnership, and we are happy you're joining us this morning for our agenda. A few housekeeping items before we get started. We do invite you to participate today using the chat function and the reactions you'll see along the bottom bar of your screen. As a reminder, we are recording today's session, and we ask that you stay muted for the event to avoid any background noise. First up this morning, we are going to provide some partnership updates, and I want to showcase some fantastic impact we have on our community this morning by inviting Kim with the Thompson Education Foundation to share some impact with us this morning. I'll turn it over to you, Kim.
Thanks so much, Joanne. I appreciate it. And hello, everyone. Good morning. I wanted to say thank you, first of all, for supporting our health sciences pathway at Thompson Career Campus, but then also just for your acknowledgement and recognition that the work that you do is so tightly connected to the work that we do at Thompson Career Campus and with our students. I have to tell you that the health sciences pathway is one of our most robust, and it has, the interest of the students are in it. It has the interest of the students are waiting to be in it. And I think that that's a lot. That's really telling, I think, about your sector when you think about, some of the challenges that we hear happening across your sector over the last 18 to almost 2 years now with the pandemic, and that we still have students that have that desire and willingness to help and to be there for others. And so I'm really excited about that. I'm joined today, I'm going to go ahead and introduce a teacher and a student, and then I'll come in at the end and we'll talk a little bit more about the partnership that that you've all supported. So I'm joined today by Lori Stevens, who is a teacher in our pathway, as well as, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Braylon Mertens, who's one of our students. Lori, are you on the call? I don't see Lori yet. Joanne, do you know if she's on the call?
I have not seen her join yet.
All right, super. Well, Braylon, I hope you feel comfortable just talking a little bit about your experience in the pathway, and if you know what your next steps are going to be after you finish with your work here at TSD, what's next?
Awesome. So yes, my name is Braylon. You did pronounce it correctly, so thank you for that. But I have been at TCC since I would say kind of the beginning, so the fall of last year. I feel that it has granted me so many opportunities that a lot of students don't have the ability to have. I am so much more ahead going into college with some of the things that I have learned, which actually really benefits me. And it's helping me pursue what I'm wanting to do, which is go be an NP. Going into nursing school with the credits and the certifications that I have, I'm actually going in as a pretty much second year sophomore going into college. So I have about a semester to a year of college of prereqs and stuff before I go into college. So that has, or nursing school, so that has really benefited me, and it makes me feel really blessed and grateful to be able to be ahead of so many other people. With the TCC program, I've learned so many life-changing experiences, being able to take on some things and have the knowledge that other kids my age don't. Going in, I just actually got a job as a CNA at the Greenhouse Home at Marisol. And before that, I was working at a chiropractic office, and I was actually doing a lot more than just the classic receptionist. I was helping fill syringes. I was helping with TPI and PRP injections, taking in and out of traction, things like that. So my previous knowledge with the TCC program has really helped me expand and be able to have more opportunities than a lot of what I would have been doing going in. I feel that having my CNA has really benefited me and helped me with, one, just my confidence level and a lot of things, being able to help others, which is what I love doing. But being able to just talk and inform other people about, hey, like this is what's going on, or hey, like if you like doing this, then this is definitely a good step for you. I've convinced a lot of people to go into the TCC Health Sciences program, which I feel is very awesome because it needs to be explored more and it needs to be a bigger deal. It is still starting off little, but I feel we're going to grow really big, which makes me very happy. So I'm so grateful about the program. The MA program I find is amazing. That's what I'm in right now. Pharmacology, the unit that we just got through, is very great. It's actually, so I don't like math very much, but the conversions and stuff like that in the pharmacology unit actually has made me find like a different type of love for math that I haven't had before. And I find that so much, like I understand that so much more than some of the other things, just because it's explained more and some of the ways that you do it just make more sense, which I enjoy because I don't enjoy math at all. So helping that, like putting that in there has really helped me. And then just some of the skills that we're going to get ready and start doing has made me like, it just excites me because I can't wait to start drawing blood because I am only 17, so I can't technically get my phlebotomy license, but giving me this experience it's going to put me at the top of my game, so I can go in and I'm going to know a lot more than some of the other students coming in, which will end up benefiting me, so I can, one, have an easier time to hopefully be at the top of my class, and three, just gives me that experience to go into college knowing a lot more and just being able to strive and just fly through it.
Braylon, that's awesome. And I'm just going to say to everybody else, I think we're done here. She just kind of covered it all. We're going to just mic drop it now because that was exactly the excitement and the benefit of this program. Braylon, thank you so much for being here. And I see that Lori's now on the call. So would love to have you hear from one of our teachers as well.
Okay, hi. Braylon is awesome, and I knew she would do a great job at talking up the program, and she's very honest about it. And so I'm really happy that she's here. And but it's my pleasure to speak to you a little bit more about the health science pathways at the TSD's Thompson Career Center. My name is Lori Stevens. I'm faculty for Front Range Community College, and I get to teach the high school students at the TCC. I teach mostly the medical assisting classes. We have another faculty member who's also with Front Range Community College who teaches the certified nurse aide program and a couple of the MA classes also. I don't believe that she's probably on today. She has class. So the health science pathway, obviously you can tell, consists of the certified nurse aide program and medical assisting programs. We also do give the opportunity and will be including for sure to teach CPR to all these students. So they walk away with that certificate also. But just like Braylon said, doing the MA and CNA will prepare the high school students to basically just get out of high school, and they could get a respectful job just being a CNA or an MA. Or when I worked at CSU, I noticed that like when we hired people and I was on the committee for hiring MAs, even having your CNA was like, gives you a little bit of a leg up. So having those two things, I feel like is really a benefit. But they can also, get out of high school, and this propels them into being like, I love healthcare field, so they go into PT, OT, nursing, doctors. I feel like we've seen a lot of that, but I've also heard a lot of the students here as of recent say that they are going to be using their MA, where a lot of times I always felt like the CNA was always that stepping stone and they were going to go to school, but I'm hearing a lot more like I plan on getting out and using my MA. So out of high school. So I think this is really, really a good program for them. But the best part about it is that the students, it's free to them. It's free to them, and we try to start them in their junior year so they make it through the whole program and get all of these certificates. They get English credit for their high school. They get also science credit for their high school, so that counts towards their high school graduation. It gives them about 30 credits of college credit also, between doing the MA and doing the CNA. But yeah, earning 3 different certificates, really 4 if you count the CPR. So this is just a really good opportunity for the students, and the collaboration between TSD and Front Range has been great. The communication has been great. I felt like maybe during COVID it was just gonna all fall apart because it was just starting up, but it's been awesome. It's been awesome to work, and I think these students are doing great. And I know all of them, some of them already work as CNAs. So Braylon, did you talk about you getting a job as a CNA and already had worked at an office? And so there's all these opportunities and connections, and so that we can provide for them.
Lori, thanks so much for coming on and talking about our campus and the program. You know, for all of you, I'll just say that so often when I think about and talk about our Thompson Career Campus and all 4 pathways, I think of the word propel, because that's essentially what we're doing. We're propelling students so significantly beyond where they would be without this campus. And we can't do that without the help of our partners and the sector partnerships that are part of all of this. And so we are so grateful. I need to tell you a little bit about, the gift. You, of course, donated $2,000 toward the support of this program. And actually, that's where COVID sort of has gotten in the way. I will tell you that we have the remaining parts of that gift. We haven't used it for much because the needs were so different last year and were covered in different ways because of support from CARES funding, all those different funding acts that came through to help support our students in our district. So we did use some of the money specifically for a student, which is what this is supposed to be for, to help students who can't afford to get, the pieces and parts that they may need, who needed to have a COVID test in a period of time where COVID tests were not that common, but needed to have a test to be able to take a job. And so we were able to help that student. And then Lori and one of the counselors at Thompson Career Campus, Ferguson High School, Suzanne Ellis, and I are having conversations about making sure that we are helping the students that do need that help and that we're reaching out to them. So I would say that we're still good stewards of your money, and that we know exactly how much we have left and we know how much we spent, but we also are ready to do more with the gift that you gave. And so thank you very much for that. We really appreciate it. We're happy to answer any questions if anyone has one. I know that you have some time constraints, and so I don't want to take to do that unless, Joanne, is that okay? Or would you prefer that we answer anything by email?
Sure. No, I think we have a few minutes here. If anybody has any questions for our Thompson team here, please unmute yourself and ask away.
Hey, Joanne, this is Carol Salter with Banner, and Braylon, congratulations, wonderful work. So excited to hear your passion. Did you find in any of your work where you felt like people kind of discounted you because you're a high school student, or did you feel a part of a team, included, and really had the opportunities to learn what you felt like you needed to do?
Awesome. So it was kind of a two-way street. So yes, I did feel some people were like, oh, well, she's a high school student. She doesn't know all the stuff. She's not like highly educated. But then there were people who were so supportive and were like, you are amazing. Like, you have gotten so ahead. You're doing so good for yourself. I'm so proud of you, which that made me feel really good. And I feel like it kind of like overarched the people that are like, well, you aren't like just pushing me to the side, which that really made me feel good, being able to show that like I am setting myself up for success. These classes have given me the ability to set myself up for success and just go and just, like everyone's saying, propel in life, going straight into pretty much nursing school, and just being able to have some of the opportunities that other kids my age, and actually people that are older than me don't even have. Like I feel like I'm so ahead of the game because of these programs, and I'm so grateful for them.
Well, Braylon, if I ever need health care, I hope you're the one taking care of me.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. Any other questions for our team here? Okay,
Joanne.
Kim. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, as we build out and continue to provide the support that that you've shared with us, that we can share with our students, I can circle back with you and just let you know, sort of kind of where we're at with that. I expect that it will accelerate really as we're going into this next semester, and we'll be using all of those funds.
That's wonderful. We look forward to hearing about that continued impact. And thank you, Kim, Braylon, and Lori for joining us today. The partnership is so happy to support the TCC. And Braylon, we are thrilled to support young folks. You're so inspiring. So thanks for your dedication. Happy to have you here to share your story today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll shift gears a little this morning and provide some committee updates. First up, we're going to hear from our Workforce Committee co-chair, Evan.
Thank you, Joanne. Good morning, everyone. My name is Evan Hyatt. I'm the co-chair of the Workforce Committee, along with Chris Houston, who I think you also see on the call. And just wanted to give a few updates on what's been going on within the Workforce Committee in the last quarter. And I think the first thing we're going to do, Nikki, what's that next slide, is hear from our work-based learning folks. As you can see on the screen, overall goals, we have two subgroups of our Workforce Committee, work-based learning and a group called Get Into the Guts. And this slide shows some of the work that they've been doing over this last quarter. As with everything else, we've had to go virtual with a lot of things, and they've adapted well and have had several live virtual chat events. And Susan or Joyce, I don't know, would you guys want to say something about these as to how they've been going and what you have planned for going forward?
Sure. These events have been a really great way to still deliver career exploration and options to a variety of people during the pandemic. So since last November, we've held 4 live virtual chats, and each chat features three folks that are in a healthcare occupation, and it also has usually some HR people from that organization on the call, and then some education partners to kind of bridge the gap of how do you get to this point. In some of the sessions that we ran last year, we did 3 in a day. So one was aimed at a high school audience, high school students and educators. One was aimed at college students and college educators, and one was aimed at job seekers, adult job seekers. And so each panel featured different panelists depending on what the topic was, and really helped people understand what a day in a life looks like in the roles that were featured on a call, but also got to hear, the need in the healthcare industry for these positions. So we frequently have featured CNA, we have frequently featured medical assistant, we have featured EMT. Our most recent session that we just did one panel, and it had a CNA from Columbine Health Systems, a medical assistant from Associates in Family Medicine, and an EMT working in radiology with UC Health. And those 3 folks talked about their role and what they do and their training to get to where they are. But we also talked about the RUN program, which gives an opportunity for people to apply for funding to be able to complete one of these certifications in a 12 months or less time period, and to be able to get right into the workforce quickly. So it was really interesting, I think, for people to see a lot of times that it's accessible, and making that connection between here's the opportunity, here's what these careers are like if you're thinking about these, but also here's how you get there. it's been really fun. It's been really successful. Lots of great questions from audience members that come in. And as it says there on the slide, the recordings are available on the Health Sector Partnership YouTube channel if you'd like to go back and see what people are talking about.
Great, thank you, Susan. So if anybody has questions for the work-based learning group or want to get involved, the Workforce Committee meets the second Tuesday of each month from 2:30 to 4. It's all virtual right now. And we alternate between our larger meeting and then breaking out into our subgroups as work group meetings. And so feel free to reach out if you want to get involved. And I imagine Susan and Joyce would very much like the help on the committee. And maybe this would be a great time. I learned this last week that Joyce Saffel is leaving our group and actually leaving the area. Joyce, sorry if this is embarrassing, but I think we need to recognize all your work that you've been doing. Joyce is retiring and sounds like moving to Wyoming. So thank you, Joyce, for all of your work. And we're going to miss you on the committee for sure, but also just in Northern Colorado as someone who's been very helpful in this area.
Thanks, Evan. I appreciate that. And everybody does such a tremendous job. And I'm not retiring. I'm going to continue to work as an HR director in a different capacity. So, but in engineering, quite opposite of the healthcare field, but still very supportive of everybody and more than happy to talk to anybody. And hopefully I'll help spearhead some work-based learning up in Sheridan, Wyoming with the hospital system there. So thanks a bunch for everything.
Well, thank you. All right. Next, we're going to focus on, I think it's our Get Into the Guts group. Is that right, Nikki?
Correct, but Nick hasn't joined us yet, so perhaps we could move forward to Sandra first.
Oh, okay, sure. Let's do that and then come back. Does she have slides as well? Great, we'll get those up. So
I do, but I cannot share.
Oh, I think that's coming.
Okay.
So Sandra Jackham's with us, and she's going to share what's been going on in terms of internships and talk about what's been accomplished there and what we're going to be doing going forward. So, there they are, Sandra.
Great. So everybody can see the slides?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you for having me this morning. It is that time of year for me to talk about performance on the summer internship program from this past summer and to encourage and hopefully recruit some businesses to participate for the coming summer. So the purpose of the Sector Summer Internship Program is to place high school students into paid internship experiences, obviously within the healthcare industry, and obviously to try and build a future workforce. And so this opportunity for youth allows them to explore different careers, to really build out a skill set, build out a language for the healthcare industry, and just gain exposure to the environment and the variety of occupations. This summer, we do have 5 positions available, and it's 50% funded by the host company, and the other 50% of that cost is provided by the sector partnership. So it really is a great deal for any business to get extra hands in your office and at a great price, honestly. And the host companies tend to be, throughout Larimer and Weld County, so we're open to that region. And of course, it is right now administered through the Larimer County Economic and Workforce Development Team, and that makes that process a lot easier as well for placing and running payroll. So this past summer, we had 5 positions this past summer. We had a total of 166 applicants for 5 positions. And every year I see that applicant number grow, and I get overwhelmed with the amount of students that want to be involved and have experiences within the healthcare industry. And so my question and my challenge is always, what do we do with these other kids? How do we keep them connected so we don't lose them when they leave high school? This past summer, 100% of their interns completed their internship. We had 2 of the 5 that received job offers at the end of the internship, and one of those students took that job offer. The other one just wasn't able to figure out a schedule with their school schedule and the transportation. You can see up on the screen that we've got some great quotes from one of our healthcare providers this past summer and one of our student interns. But every time I collect this data, it's always powerful, it's always positive, and it's always meaningful on both ends. And I've had healthcare providers who've participated the past 6 years that look forward to participating again in the summer, and even getting to a point where they hold on to projects because they know that that intern is going to be coming in the summer. One other quick thing that I do want to point out is this slides will be shared in the minutes, but there is a live link on this picture. And this is cool because this was a vlog, a video blog that was supported by the Fort Collins Chamber. So thank you to them for going out and making this video happen. But this is really highlighting the impact of youth internships in our community. So I encourage everybody to check that out. So if you are interested as a healthcare provider in supporting youth this summer through a summer internship, I am actively taking folks who want to host. We have 5 positions at that 50-50 slot, so it is first come, first serve. I am open to, if I have those 5 slots filled, I'm open to supporting healthcare providers who want to just place a young person and they're willing to pay that full price for hosting that person. We want to make sure that we get all of the positions finalized by February 18th because we turn the application live on March 1st for students to start applying for those opportunities. So if you are interested, please reach out to me via email or phone. I can talk you through it. If you're not sure what that internship could look like or what you could have that young person do, please reach out to me. I can give you examples. I can connect you with peers who can talk about what they've done in the past. So moving on, and I'm happy to answer questions in the chat, but moving on, I also wanted to introduce a grant that just became available last week through Larimer County Economic and Workforce Development. It is the Workforce Innovation Grant. Why is this important and why does this matter? I'm presenting this information to you all because this is open to our community. And when I say community, it can be public, it can be private, it can be employers, trade associations, it can be apprenticeship sponsors, community-based organizations, sector partnerships, other workforce centers. But really this grant is intended for our local community, and it's really about helping to build a workforce that needs upskilled, reskilled, new skilled. It's about connecting workers and learners to quality jobs, and it's about driving employer engagement with employee development. So if you are interested in learning more about this grant and the kind of opportunities that it can provide, you can get information from our website. We have a really great page with a lot of detailed information. If you are interested, there are some information sessions that are scheduled in the next couple of weeks. So I highly encourage you to go to the website today to check it out. So that you can catch one of those info sessions if you are interested. But the applications, they opened, like I said, last week on the 3rd, and they close on January 20th. And again, this is a local effort supported through state funding, but this is a local effort for our community. So if you have ideas, thoughts about this, I encourage you to go to the website, check it out. There's great resources there. There's info sessions. There's also a direct email address where you can ask questions if you have some follow-up concerns about the grant. So that is what I have today. I want to thank you all for allowing me to share this information. And I look forward to hearing from those of you who want to support a summer intern.
Great. Thank you, Sandra. That's fantastic information. And if anybody has questions or would like to participate, Sandra's the contact to do that. So I would encourage you, if you have the capacity to do this, call her and reach out to her and find out. Now I understand we're going to go back to some information about our Get Into the Guts work group. Nick Peterson has joined us, and Nick is the chair now of the subgroup, the Get Into the Guts. Good morning, Nick, group. And he recently, well, he's going to explain all the things that are going on in the Get Into the Guts group, as well as talk about an event they held at the end of October, a first in-person event in a while. And Nick, if you would, please talk about, I think, while this took place in Poudre School District, where Nick works, we'd like to very much have this happen in other school districts and would be able to help support that. And Nick has offered to help provide information and really the template to do this. So I think it could be done very easily. And so if you're working in one of the school districts in Weld County or Thompson, and this looks like something you'd like to duplicate, I'm sure Nick would help out there. So Nick, if you would, can you talk about what's been going on and Get Into the Guts and what that group's been doing lately?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think we stumbled on something really good when we moved the event to, away from a hospital this time, because we had to, and we did it at Front Range Grays Peak. And we realized that we could throw on a great event for students that gets 8th graders really excited without some of the hurdles of a hospital, which is what's allowing us to do it at least this year and maybe in future years where we have impacts like this. What the subgroup has been working on and I've been working on supporting is trying to make it a little bit more turnkey for other folks who would like to do this. And so we would like to use the Health Sector Partnership website to have a tab for Get In the Guts with a little bit more public facing information and links and things like that. So that kind of promotion doesn't have to be recreated every time somebody would like to do the event. And then we're also building out a Google Drive where I've kind of copied some of the materials that I've made, including, the presentation that we do the day of for our students, the list of presenters that we're working on, some rough budget outlines, checklists and to-dos, links to flyers, and, some of that stuff in just more of a shareable format. So that way, anybody who wants to do it can tap into the Google Drive, look at what's already been made, and literally just find and replace, and swap in information for their event. When we did Get In the Guts at Front Range Community College, Grays Peak, we kind of followed the model that we had in the past, where we invited 4 middle schools to bring about 10 or 12 students. And so we ended up having about 48 students attend. Everybody, was maxing out their allotment of students. And from the feedback that we collected, all the students thought it was great. And anecdotally, we had counselors and students say, hey, this is the best field trip we've ever had. So I really want to give my gratitude to the folks that took the time to create their tables and their little 5-minute immersive experience for the students to rotate through. And I want to thank Front Range for opening up their doors and being excellent hosts with Grays Peak, because it was just fantastic for us. And the kids really enjoyed touring that space. I hadn't been a part of Get In the Guts when it was run at the hospitals, but people that did it at Front Range said it was a good event in its own right, even though it's an evolution. And so thinking a little bit more long-term, this might be a good thing to do for our 8th grade level students. And then we can kind of focus on building out more experiences that get maybe our high school students into hospitals and other places. But I think that's still kind of an evolving conversation with, district rules around the pandemic and what hospitals can do in the way of hosting. But I'm definitely happy to be the point person, both on that website endeavor to try and make sure we've got a little bit more of a public facing brand, as well as on the back end in the Google Drive, and making sure that We've got all the materials organized in a way that's accessible for other schools and districts that want to put this together. I'm happy to kind of just do some hand holding or, white glove treatment for anyone that wants to bring this about. And with that, I'm open to any questions or follow-ups. I'm not quite sure what level of detail the full group wants to hear this morning. That's what I've got.
I think that's great, Nick. Thanks. And so if anybody is interested in doing this within your district, I'm sure Nick wouldn't mind taking emails, or you can contact through our website, go out and look at the information that's there. So thank you, Nick. That was a fantastic event, and I hope we're going to be able to duplicate it around the other districts. So thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Hey, one other thing that I forgot to say. We think that we could host more students at a time, and we think that we could cycle through more students in a day to make the most out of the presenters' time, when they invest, a day or a half day by bringing their stuff for their tables there. So, in the future, what I would like to do is see if we could get all of our middle schools in our district cycled through, in a day, and kind of come up with an alternate schedule. And so I think we're going to try and explore ways to make it so it doesn't just serve 40 students, because with 12 middle schools and PSD, we're going to miss students. We don't have the scale happening. So I think that's what we're going to be working on next. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
So Nikki, I guess to keep things moving forward, I don't know that there's more for our group to update on. I think I gave the time of our meeting, and if anyone wants to get involved, please reach out to Nikki and she'll get you included in the email invitation. And so next, I think one of the co-chairs of our Behavioral Health Committee, Carolyn's going to share some information about what they've been doing. So thank you.
Thanks, Evan. Really amazing updates from the Workforce Committee. I'm Caroline Bunn. I'm a community liaison with Summit Stone Health Partners. I get to be the co-chair of the Behavioral Health Committee along with Crystal Smith, who I believe is also on the call this morning. Nikki, can you? Perfect. And so here's what we've been up to. And so thanks to, and I want to give a shout out to Anna Von Driel from Columbine Health System. She really headed up this work and did a lot of the heavy lifting on getting us a grant from Behavioral Health Services. And so what that does is allows us to add some events on this year. So we're doing 2 forums, one with CSU and Front Range and one with UNC and Ames. And it's going to be really neat, where it's going to be a collaboration between the schools and then industry, and really setting students and career seekers up for success with getting all the information that they need from both settings and really bringing both of those fields together. So super excited about that. Huge thanks to Behavioral Health Services for supporting us in these endeavors and believing in us. And we're just excited to make that happen. If you're interested in the forum, please go ahead and contact Anna. She is on the call today. She's been with the Health Sector Partnership for a long time, so I'm sure everybody knows her. Nikki, could I get the next slide? And then our career exploration event. So this is our 3rd time around. We're really excited to bring it back in person again after doing it virtual last year. It'll be Wednesday, March 2nd at UNC. We're inviting students from CSU, UNC, Front Range, and Ames, and really focusing on supporting students with exploring the field of behavioral health. We will have opportunities for industry leaders to be there to speak with students about what it's like to work in their field, job opportunities that they have. So if you're interested, please go ahead and contact Crystal Smith, who again is also on the call this morning. But we're really excited to do this again. It's been very well received the last couple of years. We've had to get really creative in the world of COVID, just as everyone else has, but really excited to make this happen again. Nikki, next slide. Fantastic. And then our last thing that we have going on is our resource library. And so this was something that we brought about as a response to COVID, with not being able to see people in person any longer. And so we created a resource library that lives on YouTube. And we have several videos there. There are little short ones that I believe many of the people on this call have actually contributed to, with talking about why it's working in behavioral health is so great. And then talking about job opportunities in behavioral health. And we also have recordings of many of our different events that we've done. So if students are interested in different things, they can find a video that might suit their needs there. Our next video, we're very excited about this, is working with Summit Stone's co-responder program. This is a growing program here in Larimer County, and I would say nationwide, that people are really excited about. It has a huge impact on the community. And I believe we're going to be filming in January to make that happen. So talking with our co-responders, and then also talking with law enforcement about the benefit. And thank you, Nikki, for putting the link in there. I really appreciate it. But talking with our co-responders about what a day in the life looks like for that. And then also talking with students about, what are the steps you need to take to get into that field. I think so many of our students see these careers or see people in those careers and like, that seems so far away from me. How would I ever possibly do that? And really being able to get that input directly from the people who are already doing it. So we've got some really exciting things going on. Please check out our YouTube channel. Nikki just put the link in the chat. If you're interested in contributing to the resource library somehow, please go ahead and email me or Joanne Herkenoff. And thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone. It's great to highlight those fantastic programs. And if you're inspired to participate with any of our committees on these efforts, we invite you to do so. You can see the contact information for our committee chairs here on this slide. I next want to shift to an update on our newest initiative, the Nursing Shortage Solutions. And I'm going to turn it over to Chris and Angela.
Good morning. This is Angela Richard. And oops, can you hear me? Okay. Chris and I are going to co-present on this, on our nursing shortage focus group and discussions that we held September 9th and 10th, or 9th and 16th this year, to address what is a pretty severe nursing shortage in our area. Nikki, can we advance? There we go. This is pretty much, I don't even know that you need to describe this slide. This pretty much encapsulates everything. Where the need is immediate, the need is severe. And so fortunately, working through this group, we were able to convene and get some great ideas on how we can address it. Next slide. Yeah. So the goals of our focus group was to explore data related to the shortage in Northern Colorado, and I'll share some of that, to gain a deeper understanding of the complexity of this issue. And I would say what folks are doing locally, hear firsthand what our industry is experiencing and what they are doing in their own industry or facilities or communities, and then to look at what we can do as a community to identify actionable steps towards solutions. So these are the Larimer and Weld nursing occupation facts. This does just go through 2020. As we know, as we're getting close to the end of 2021, we'll be able to update that as those data come in. And the data is not better for 2021. I can anecdotally tell you that. We had in 2020 across the different nursing assistants, registered nurses, LPNs, LVNs, and nurse practitioners. In Larimer and Will County, there were 8,379 jobs available. What we saw is that from 2015 to 2020, there was a 19% increase in the jobs available for those nursing and nursing related positions. You know, that's pretty commensurate with what you've seen with the growth in our area, so not surprising. The projections for 2020 and 2025 are an increase of just under 3%. And then from 2020 to 2030, 5%. What I don't know about those facts, that's what's available at this point. I don't know how much they factored COVID in, probably not. So I would say that's probably that's what we have in terms of projections, but probably an underestimate. Average hourly rate for all these positions combined, and keep in mind nursing assistants, a lot of times start closer to the $15 to $16 an hour range. Once you get up to nurse practitioners, you're talking about much higher, but the overall hourly median earning was $31.65 an hour. So with an annual of a little over 65,000 annually. There were in 2020 average monthly job postings were at 1,349. Again, I know that that's probably accelerated in 2021. So for our focus group, we pulled together 6 education partners from our 2 counties, 6 industry partners representing a variety of scale. And I would say not only of scale, but also of setting, inpatient, outpatient, community, home health, and others. And we had 4 support organizations that participated. The small group discovery sessions, so as we had big sessions and then had breakout sessions, and those were hosted by Evan Hyatt from Care Synergy, who's and Chris Houston from Front Range Community College, who are on our workforce development committee, and then Anna Vondriel from Columbine Health, who is on our behavioral committee. And in those breakout rooms, what we asked was, what are the challenges that you're facing? What are the opportunities you see? And what do we need for success in terms of addressing this nursing shortage? And then detailed conversation on proposed solutions and strategies. So, Chris, do you want to talk about the ideas and solutions?
Thanks, Angela. It was a great group to gather input from because we did have such a good representation. And our goal during this is really to focus on some concrete ideas and solutions that the sector partnership could support. So we really wanted to focus on some collaborative action between education, workforce, and providers. And I want to tell you a little bit about some of those solutions that we identified. And we also will have an opportunity for you to give us some additional feedback. So some of the key themes that were generated in those subgroups that came out as far as solutions, a lot of discussion about using an apprenticeship model, both for CNA, LPN, and up into the RN roles, and working with employers to explore that partnership. We are looking at some of those currently. We also, there was some discussion about exploring alternate routes, alternate roles in acute care, what types of positions could be used. For example, the use of the LPN back in the acute care setting was discussed, and I think there's some interest in looking at some of those things. Also reskilling nurses, and I think that was just looking at some of the ADN to BSN and the educational requirements to continue educational pathways with those interested and starting in the nursing profession. And then a lot of good discussion about rotating roles. And some of us also were able to join some national conversation groups about the nursing shortage. And this theme was really relevant about allowing current clinical nurses to maybe factor in and do some work in an educational setting. This may help prevent some of the burnout that they're feeling in the patient care roles, but also could support the educational institutions, because that is a big barrier for some of our educational programs, is hiring qualified nurses. So those were a few of the themes that we discussed. Also, looking at the change in the framework for how students get into the field rather than an institution. And I think, you know, all the work that this committee and this sector partnership is doing, I think Sandra's work with identifying individuals, what Thompson Valley is doing with their healthcare center, we're really looking for how do we continue to garner that interest and continue that pathway rather than just going institution by institution. And then there was a lot of discussion. I think a lot of us have seen this in the media and with our other groups, that there's a lot of internal burnout within the work-life balance of the nursing profession. And looking at some schedule management, there was discussion nationally. Some institutions are moving to shift sharing options where someone can take an 8-hour shift. Part of the 12-hour shift would be 8 hours with one person, 4 hours with another. And really looking at some of those ways to support the current workforce to help, decrease that exit because of burnout. A lot of discussion about childcare, housing, transportation. I think that all relates to, livable wages and income and where people live. And, the nature of nursing is that this is not a 9-to-5 position, and childcare is not always supportive of the nursing profession's demand on when those childcare needs are. So these are some of the other options that were discussed. So the sessions were really important because we did group people in the sessions with educators, workforce, and our support area like workforce, so that we could really discover some areas that need additional exploration. So these are some of the points that we identified as needing more evaluation that will be ongoing. One piece that was identified is because of the large number of exit of the current nursing workforce, there is some discussion about looking at exit interviews and what are those concerns? Is it vaccine requirements? Is it shifts? Is it, workload balance? I remember at one of the national groups we got together with, one of the agencies literally hired like an IT person to be on the floor to help from every little thing to helping patients with their TV to helping nurses if they had a printer jam. And so some of these, we wanted to work with some of our local employers to identify some exit interview strategies so we could help identify some of those key pain points that may be helpful in building a more robust support system for the current nursing workforce. We did pull some data about the ages of the current workforce. This is obviously very important as we look at the graying of our workforce and, ensuring that we have appropriate numbers coming in and maximizing on that youth desire to get into healthcare. And one of the big areas, we will explore different sources of grant funding and resources to help support both our industry partners and look at some innovative programs that we might be able to implement on a beta test level at some of our institutions. There was also quite a bit of discussion about the academic requirements and the need to support more instructors and clinical roles. And so keep making sure that we have strong partnerships with our partners to see about, clinical nurses that can help support the education. We did look into some of the clinical hours requirements as a state board requirement, and that does vary dramatically from state to state. Colorado does have one of the higher number of clinical hours. And this was just more data points of how do we look at all the factors that are contributing to the lack of nursing in the workforce. Some of us were able to join some of the national conversations, and we'll continue to do that. And then we were able to have one of the representatives from the State Board of Nursing attend our conversations, and we will be including conversations with that state board on the capacity. What is the state's capacity, and how does that relate with the clinical requirements and those on-site hours that are required? So a couple of the items that came out of these conversation, kind of the next steps, action-oriented items. One of the first is this Nursing Excellent Consortium. So a group of individuals has volunteered to kind of be champions to launch this consortium. And I think we're still identifying the exact purpose of the consortium, but the goal of the consortium is to bring the educators and our clinical partners together to really iron out seamless clinical placement process to ensure that all of our partners are contributing to the clinical needs, as well as having a very predictable schedule, because that is really what dictates the numbers of allowable students in the pathway. So Angela is a part of that. I know Melissa Henry's on this call. She's also a part of that. And there's a few others that will be meeting, and we will give you updates on this group. And during all of this, if you are interested in supporting any of these next steps, please reach out. You can put in the chat if there's certain areas that you'd be willing to support. We really want to make this a robust discussion and include a lot of our local partners. So we're also going to be looking, reporting back to the full partnership for additional collaboration and engagements on solutions, some of those exit interview data, some of those other grant opportunities. And then the partnership is really looking at what is our role in the partnership in bringing together and help launching some of these solutions with the right key players in our area. And then one of the wonderful opportunities is that the NoCo sector partnership was a part of identifying the need for this regional workforce position. And this position, I believe, is in the process of getting hired on with Larimer County Workforce. And this position will also help identify some of the nursing shortage initiatives and how to support our local employers and bring that together. Nikki, do you want to take on this part, or do you want me to continue to guide this? So in order to get some feedback from you all as we continue this important work, we want to make sure that we're identifying some of the hot topics that you all are feeling out in the industry. So one of the ideas that we had is if you could, while we're here discussing, use the chat, and we're going to try to put together a Wordle. But what we'd like to know is just what word describes how you're feeling about this nursing shortage. And I'll give just a minute or so for people to think about that. I'm sure all of you are reading the chat as we go through this, and you can see the very, in the intensity at which this is really affecting people. And I wanted to note when Carol was saying that she was hoping that when she needed healthcare, that she would have students like the one we heard from this morning. Those are the kind of things that we do get hopeful about. But I noticed when Carol said, if she needs healthcare, and I think for all of us, we realize it's only when, not just if, but when. So All right, thank you. And feel free to continue to put in your thoughts on that. So one of the things we also wanted to get some feedback on is using this polling with the Zoom option. We wanted to rank what your thoughts were on where should we focus our efforts and our action steps. So we have a poll up. If you could just take a second to think about what's your highest priority to ranking with your lowest priority.
And this latest feature on Zoom does require for you to have a more recent Zoom update. So if anyone finds themselves having trouble with the poll, feel free to use the chat. Essentially what is shared on the PowerPoint slide are the 6 action steps, and we would really like to just prioritize the top ones. So if the poll did not prompt, you can look on your bottom menu bar and click on polls if it didn't automatically come up for you, or you can use the chat to, again, pick your top 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, Nikki.
Mm-hmm. All right, some people are coming in, so it looks like the polls are active now and very, very varying.
And as you type into that chat, if there's other extensions on these action steps that you want to detail, feel free to share that.
The top option right now is exploring alternate roles in acute care. And exploring solutions to work-life balance. And rotating roles, allowing a break from clinical to share knowledge in an education setting.
That's great, Nikki. Thank you for sharing those, and feel free for those of you who didn't have access to that poll to type into the chat your thoughts. This will really help us guide our next steps and how to really focus our efforts in providing some potential subgroups on those items, and also working with our employer partners. So I appreciate that. So one of the things we also wanted to capture is that we had a very extensive discussion with a wide variety of individuals at our meeting in September, at our 2 meetings. But we want to make sure that we did not miss any points, any blind side pieces. So as you think about this very complex issue, I can, see the emotion and the concern that we all have about where is this going to lead us to. I'd like for you just to think about for a minute, are there any other opportunities for solutions to this nursing shortage that we didn't address, or that you are thinking that we might need to look into? So please take a minute and kind of think, is there anything that we did not capture from our employer partners, our education partners, and our community workforce partners in putting together this task force? Give a minute for you to do that. And while you're thinking about this too, feel free to, I'll put my email in the chat, or actually, if you're interested in working on any of these task force solutions, I would encourage you to reach out to Nikki Lucas. And I know, Nikki, you've put your email in there, but we will compile a list of those who are interested as we continue this conversation and bring representatives from all of our groups together to help with defining this. And I also will tell you, I do some work with the Denver sector partnership as well. And I'd like to bring this issue to the Denver sector partnership in the same format, gathering data, having discussion, because I really think at some point we may need to launch this to a statewide concern, because this is a statewide concern. This is not a local. So let's just take the last minute or 30 seconds to a minute, just any other last thoughts or interested in helping out with some of our subgroups. Oh, I got ahead of myself on that, Nikki. Thank you. And I really appreciate all of our employer input and our education partners and our workforce input on this task force. So thank you, everyone. It's important work that the partnership can contribute to, and I hope that we can identify some solutions that are implementable in the future. Thank you, Nikki.
Thanks, Chris and Angela. And I do want to reiterate, our sector partnership is connected to the national sector partnership model. So we do have resources outside of this region to help solve this problem. And we are connected with them in that manner as well. So we have lots of resources we're going to pull into this continued conversation. So I want to thank you all for your commitment in helping us move the needle on this topic. I want to reiterate our excitement for this RN shortage coordinator role through Larimer County. This will be critical to helping pull this region together to solve this issue. And I invite you to collaborate whenever the opportunity is presented with this new role. Again, if you have questions or comments or engagement desires, please reach out to Nikki and she can plug you in where it's appropriate. The position has not yet been posted, but we do understand that Jacob would say it's imminent and soon, Caroline. So thanks for your question. We will share that information out as soon as it's ready. Okay. Looks like Nikki has posted the SurveyMonkey link as well. If you weren't able to participate in the chat today, we do want your input. And so please click that link and participate via the SurveyMonkey. And again, any questions or comments related to this nursing shortage, you can direct to Nikki, or my email address is on the screen as well. I want to take the opportunity to thank our sponsors for this sector partnership: Columbine Health, City of Fort Collins, the Colorado Workforce Development Council, Fort Collins Chamber of Commerce, Kaiser Permanente, UC Health, City of Greeley, and Front Range Community College. These sponsors are critical in helping us do all the great work you heard about this morning. And we invite you to participate as well. If there's a particular component of the sector partnership that you're passionate about, we'd love to talk to you about sponsorship opportunities. And then I want to invite you to join us for our upcoming sector partnership meetings. Nikki's got on the slide here our 2022 partnership meetings. We are watching this pandemic closely to determine whether or not we are hosting virtually or in person. So we'll have more information to come. So stay tuned to the newsletter and other correspondence to see where those land. I want to thank you all for joining us today. Thank you for your commitment to the initiatives that we have shared, and invite you to please reach out for further engagement. I hope you all have a great day.